Now that I've done everything for you, I'll be honest, feel free to just claim the glory. I realized I didn't eat all of today. Drink some cashew milk yogurt milk earlier. But that's it. That's it. If God didn't want you to throw trash on the floor, He wouldn't have made the floor so close to trash cans. Think about it. Think about it, people. Doodly doodly doo. Move on, man. Piles of pills? Is that something I should have, said with more shame? I don't know. Let me switch back to the... let me switch back to the less good one. Aha! This needs to be at more of an angle. Pardon me, just for a second. Wow, this is a lot of light for... This is a lot of light for... For me, in general, but also apparently for my shitty ass cameras to accept. There's no fucking DSLRs here, baby. These are all old webcams from many, many years ago that I discovered I had not thrown away. And the rest is history. My dream is to, of course, become ContraPoints. I admit, I do have a head start on her. In terms of hormones. Other than that, I will literally never, ever catch up with her in terms of writing ability, quality of sets and costumes, good equipment. Good equipment and cameras and lighting. I've got a shitty old camera and a weird filter on my face. And my face is kind of itchy because I just came from taking a shower. So, I apologize for a brief interlude. That's the stuff. Doing my very best not to mess up my extremely trendy and Gen Z appropriate nose highlight and my Instagram baddie lips. Also, I don't know if you can tell, like the filter is giving me eyebrows, but I don't have them right now. I bleached them off because I really enjoy how unsettling it looks when someone has very dark hair and blonde to the point of invisibility eyebrows. Nobody else cares for it, I must admit. Unsettling, ugly. Please stop doing this. I've heard them all. But I know in my heart that this weird shit I'm doing to my face is somehow right for me. And I'm going to embrace that journey. It's amazing what sort of shit you can get away with if you just frame it in the context of a personal journey of discovery and empowerment. Same thing with self-care. You can be a real cunt to people and sometimes get away with it if it's self-care. That's kind of fun. Everything gets twisted and polluted and ruined until eventually you have to pick some other thing, some other word and some other vaguely similar behavior to represent your positive message, you know. And there's nothing wrong with that. Let's see. Speaking of segues, Did you know that the guy who invented the Segway died by accidentally driving a Segway off a cliff? So now that that Segway is out of the way, shall we say, I really want to read this book, Feed, by Mira Grant, which apparently Mira Grant is not even a person. They give a couple of details about Mira Grant as if she were a person, and then explain she is a pseudonym of another writer. Mira Grant lives in California, sleeps with a machete under her bed, and highly suggests you do the same. Right there, above the hell am I pointing this? There it is. That's my axe. I don't sleep with it under my pillow, but I sleep with it on my wall above my pillow, which I think is pretty close. So you and me, Mira. Oh wait, she's fake. Mira Grant is the pseudonym of Shannon McGuire, winner of the 2010 John W. Campbell Award for Best New Writer. Okay, can I just say, first of all, I don't love that that this, like, rare, exciting female writer comes out. It's a big, out of nowhere. And she's the pseudonym of, from the name, what I assume is a man who has already won an award for Best New Writer. It's not my favorite thing. And I wish they had just not included that. You know how easy that is? Look, here's where they're talking about the Mira Grant. And then Mira Grant is the pseudonym. Oh, no, wait. Just take that away. Mira Grant lives in California, sleeps with a machete, and suggests you do the same. End of author information. Quote, the zombie novel Robert A. Heinlein might have written, Sci-Fi magazine, because it was written by a man. Sorry. I promise I won't bring it up again. Quote, alive or dead, the truth won't rest. My name is Georgia Mason, and I am begging you, rise up while you can. The year was 2014. Alright, hold up. Copyright 2010 by Shannon McGuire. Okay. So in 2010, they imagined the year was 2014. We had cured cancer. We had beaten the common cold. But in doing so, we had created something new, something terrible that no one could stop. the infection spread. Virus blocks taking over bodies and minds with one unstoppable command. Feed. Now, 20 years after the capital R rising, Georgia and Sean Mason are on the trail of the biggest story of their lives, the dark conspiracy behind the infected. The truth will out, even if it kills them. So, the reason I wanted to read this was because just kind of based on a few things I heard, and the fact that it's called Feed, and the fact that it's got this little Wi-Fi / news feed symbol in blood on the front, makes me think it's gonna be like a fun little, and this is, I guess, technically YA, I think. Maybe it's not. I thought it was. Maybe they don't say. Maybe they don't admit it when they're YA. I will be able to tell. I will be able to tell from the writing whether it's YA or not once I start. But $2010. Okay. This is a book that, and every great zombie apocalypse should represent something. Like, it should represent something like the book World War Z, instead of not representing anything, like the movie World War Z. So this one is clearly not to be not to diminish the complexity of the story, but I assume the main analogy floating throughout the internal, viscous fluid of this book is that a news feed is like a rush of just everything coming at you, and like you have to consume news and social media and blah blah blah. About 2010, what social media was there in 2010? Because like I assumed this was going to be about like Instagram, Twitter, obviously not like TikTok or anything, but like it's going to be about social media and like the constant barrage of like images and words that people get when they choose to infect themselves with the desire to be part of the social media ecosystem. But 2010, like, let's do a little pre-book research. Nothing I love more than a little pre-book research, right? Okay. Instagram. No, I just want to search for it. Google, tell me when it started. October 6th, 2010. Okay. Started in 2010, acquired by Facebook in 2012. Snatch those competitors, queen. Yes. Twitter was obviously older than that. 2006. When did Vine exist? Okay. It started the beginning of 2013. It does not say... Oh, wait. Discontinued in 2016. Okay. So, Vine is not part of the story. It's mostly Twitter, seems like. And, of course, Facebook. What about Tumblr? I mean... Tumblr. I mean, it's a ghost town now. But that's because they got rid of the sex workers. Pro tip. Maybe don't do that. See? Like, OnlyFans was gonna do that. And then they were like, whoops. We're about to make a huge mistake. We're about to pull a Tumblr, as it's called. So, let's see. Google search for Tumblr. People also ask, why is Tumblr bad? Why was Tumblr shut down? Is Tumblr dead in 2021? Yes. I'm not sure if those are correct, but okay. 2007. So that was going strong. So we had Twitter, Facebook, and Tumblr. Pinterest? Launched January 2010. So, just like it's less chuggy version Instagram. Pinterest is almost certainly not relevant to this story. But Facebook, Twitter, I'm sure the concept of doom scrolling already existed, even if they didn't have a name for it yet. And Tumblr. Endless scrolling, endless reblogging, endless reposting. I feel like that's enough. 3 big ones. Not to mention just, news feeds that people are able to set up on like every Google alert or newspaper website or blog or whatever. So, yeah, feed. Just constant alerts, constant consuming. And you tie that to zombies, as one does. You tie a thing to zombies, as one does. That is what is done. Now let me find the other book. Let's see. If I was just gonna be like, I'm gonna read a book and here's the thing about it, like, great. But what I want to do is reread a book that I read a long time ago by this exciting new author in the horror genre. He's really taking the industry by storm. I feel like he's going to be the next Clive Barker. His name is Stephen King, I think. I want to eat your pancreas. No. That is not good for now. I reject you. I reject you, Satan. Okay. Where are my other books? Where are my dragons? Where are my dragons? Where are my dragons? Not my dragons, but my books are probably up here. There we go. An extremely safe and extremely well organized way of doing everything. Probably just everything. Gotta get my Shivi poster in there. Just do it. That's my Fitspiration right there. Just do it. So Sal. Oh God, they made it into a movie. Why do you keep doing this to Stephen King? So sad. Just let the poor man write. Stop making these movies. If any writer is capable of producing the capital G great American zombie novel, it would have to be Stephen King. Sal is hard to put down once you picked it up. There's no shortage of harrowing scenes. A solid, entertaining read. It's King's manic creative energy, his crazy, headlong, non-stop verve that makes Cell a marvel. With his exquisite and unerring knack for just what it takes to keep readers sublimely hooked, you realize you're utterly at the mercy of a master storyteller. Cell includes some of King's most beautiful writing and affecting characterizations. That's a weird thing. That's a weird compliment. They literally called him crazy twice before saying anything else. But this was, what year was this? 2006. Okay. So, yeah. Because I remember reading it, like, not that long after that. So obviously we have Stephen King, boomer, writes a zombie apocalypse story about how people with their cell phones always on them become zombies and start to form this, if I recall correctly from when I read it years ago, start to form this weird hive mind, which is an interesting take on zombies. I mean, they're still zombies. They'll still fuck you up, but like they're also creating this larger intelligence, potentially, you know, in a Star Trek, Picard, like, prime directive sense, like, maybe you shouldn't destroy it, even though it's kind of eating some people, or like turning people into it. Like, it is still a life form, a new life form, and like, questions. I don't even remember if he like actually goes into that himself. It's just, I remember being like, Captain Picard would have something to say about this. Which shows you where my focuses are. Okay. Here's a quote from Cell. If any of them looks over here, sees us, and decides to come after us, we're done. We won't have a hope in hell. End quote. On October 1st, God is in his heaven. The stock market stands at 10,140. Most of the planes are on time. And graphic artist Clayton Riddle is visiting Boston, having just landed a deal that might finally enable him to make art instead of teaching it. But all of those good feelings about the future change in a hurry, thanks to a devastating phenomenon that will come to be known as, capital T, the pulse. The delivery method is a cell phone. Everyone's cell phone. Now Clay, alright, we're just calling him Clay now. Now Clay and the few desperate survivors who join him suddenly find themselves in the pitch black night of civilization's darkest age, surrounded by chaos, carnage, and a relentless human horde that has been reduced to its basest nature. And then begins to evolve. There's really no escaping this nightmare. But for Clay, an arrow points the way home to his family in Maine. And as he and his fellow refugees make their harrowing journey north, they begin to see the crude signs confirming their direction. A promise of a safe haven, perhaps, or quite possibly the deadliest trap of all. So that's that. Twist. His family lives in Maine. Clay, I mean. Okay. To finish. Oh, wait. No, I already read this. The year was 2014. They cured cancer. Common cold. But then, oops, created something new. Infection spread. One unstoppable command. Feed. And this is the fun, different part. It's 20 years later. Georgia and Sean are on the trail of the biggest story of their lives. The dark conspiracy behind the infected. The truth will out even if it kills them. So, kind of fun. Actually, both of these are, see, what I wanted to do and what I hope to do at some point in a video essay is say, these two books, before reading them, other than the vaguest amount of information I have about this from hearing about it and from reading this like 15 years ago, it's just kind of like guessing really, about what would be the same and what would be different in these books. And the fact that Mira Grant is a pseudonym really throws me for a loop, because I was really hoping it was sort of like a generational thing, like boomers versus millennials. Like, boomers are scared of cell phones, millennials are scared of like social media, you know? But what if this motherfucker, Shannon McGuire, who's pretending to be Mira Grant, is actually old or whatever. Well, at least she's female. I mean, no offense, disgusting men. No offense. Like, absolutely no offense intended, but like, thank God she's female. It would have been horrible if she was male. God, that would have been the worst thing imaginable. No offense. That would have just ruined the entire novel. Because men are just, they're just terrible at writing novels. No offense. And, you know, hashtag not all men. For instance, Stephen King. He's a man, and he writes, And he writes really well for a man. So, I don't even know what anyone would be getting upset about, if they were getting upset. But, the point is, the hell is a filker? Filker. A filker? A filker. She's a filker. Shannon. Stop calling her a filker. Google, you're not even gonna try to just throw me a bone, just throw me a single line about what the hell a filker is? It's not even a hyperlink? Okay, so, born 1978, that puts her in very elder millennial, very young Gen X territory. Stephen King, on the other hand, God bless his fucking genius soul. I hope he never dies. He was born in 1947. Woof. So 1947 to 1978. Okay. Yes. I feel like they will. I feel like I've done my due diligence. That they probably will have differing viewpoints on technology. Everyone having a cell phone they carry around with them all the time. Unsettling for Stephen King. Having a cell phone with you all the time and everyone having a smartphone, probably not unsettling for Mira Grant or Shannon. But the culture of social media, the culture of 24/7 text alerts and tweeting from your phone and news feeds and Google alerts and being expected to post things and respond to things on Twitter and Facebook, or else there's something wrong with you. That's the thing that like, even I don't. I get it, but it doesn't feel natural to me. Zoomers have been born with that already in place. So they don't know anything else. That feels completely natural to them. They're like, yeah, of course you give up your privacy in exchange for convenience or free services. What value does privacy have anyway? Like, of course you send out nudes to people and you do it hoping they won't end up everywhere, but knowing it's not implausible that they will show up somewhere. Like, it's crazy, you know? These are both about, what is this nonsense technology culture that we've built? It's like we're somehow, by using this technology, we're somehow becoming less human, becoming less than human, becoming some sort of hollow shell of a human with the outward shape of a human. The body remains, and yet the mind and the soul have just gone, or changed, or joined together into one giant weird hive mind, or whatever feed does with that. I'm excited to find out. I need to put on the space heater a little bit because I was just in the shower and I wore my bandana in the shower. So now I have cold wet hair a little bit and a cold wet bandana. And it's not the best. I'll say that. Hopefully the sound is not too grating. I hope the sound is great. Thank you. So, obviously I'm going to read feed first because I haven't read it yet and I'm like more excited about it. I need I have this nervous tick. Clearing my sinuses thing. And it is absolutely reprehensible. Where's my tea? Where's my tea? Alright. Got my hard seltzer. Got my mint chocolate protein shake. My food. And I got this sweet, sweet probiotic cashew milk yogurt blueberry. Oh god. So good. It's heavenly is the only way to describe it. In my body a little bit. Hey, maybe this could be a laying down reading. Is that too weird? Is that weird? Gotta get Chibi boy every picture. There we go. Oh, hey, that's pretty good. Maybe bring the. Can I bring the mic down here? Can I bring the mic down here? Or is that too close to the... It's probably too close to the heater. And you can't hear anything except the heater. Well... Tough cookies. Haha! No, I'm... Heater. Oh, you know what I'm gonna do? Is this working at all? Oh, it's off. It was set up. Okay. Bozy. Come on. Come on, Bozy. Free string beats from the very cool string beats by Harris Heller that I learned about from his channel. Cozy. Good. You should be together. me check what the sound is. That may have to be for another time. As much as I love synthwave, that combined with the space heater. There we go. There's like 3 more cheetahs in here. Let's go through the beginning of it. I'm just gonna read that. I'll spoil part of the book for me. Oh! There's 2 other books. It's a trilogy. Feed. Book 1. The Rising. I don't know. It has not escaped my attention that I needed to fill my gullet with some delicious crap. You know, feed. Irony? I don't know her. Alright. This is too relaxing. I'll just fall asleep. That's not bad. That's pretty cute. That's pretty cute. Oh, wait a minute. Gotta get Chibi in there. Always do it. You know what I say? When someone's like, should I put this in the frame? I'm like, do it. Book 1, The Rising. You Can't Kill the Truth. Georgia Mason. Nothing is impossible to kill. It's just that sometimes after you kill something, you have to keep shooting it until it stops moving. And that's really sort of neat when you stop to think about it. Sean Mason. Okay. Not the, like, most, profound, note I've ever heard from somebody, but, you know what? I didn't have, like, the best senior quote, so. Everyone has someone on the wall. No matter how remote you may think you are from the events that changed the world during the brutal summer of 2014, you have someone on the wall. Maybe they're a cousin. Maybe they're an old family friend. Maybe they're just somebody you saw on TV once. But they're yours. They belong to you. They died to make sure that you could sit in your safe little house, behind your safe little walls, watching the words of one jaded 22-year-old journalist go scrolling across your computer screen. Think about that for a moment. They died for you. Now take a good look at the life you're living and tell me, did they do the right thing? From Images May Disturb You, the blog of Georgia Mason, May 16th, 2039. Oh my God. That's more than 10 years away from now. That is a long time in the future. I want to try and get closer to this because I want to be able to speak to you. Logitech. But also my imaginary hypothetical future fans, you know, my little parasocial Keats. I've decided to call you. One. Our story opens where countless stories have ended in the last 26 years, with an idiot. In this case, my brother Sean, deciding it would be a good idea to go out and poke a zombie with a stick to see what happens. As if we didn't already know what happens when you mess with a zombie. The zombie turns around and bites you, and you become the thing you poked. This isn't a surprise. It hasn't been a surprise for more than 20 years. And if you want to get technical, it wasn't a surprise then. When the infected first appeared, heralded by screams that the dead were rising and Judgment Day was at hand, they behaved just like the horror movies had been telling us for decades that they would behave. The only surprise with this was that this time it was really happening. There was no warning before the outbreaks began. One day, things were normal. The next, people who were supposedly dead were getting up and attacking anything that came into range. This was upsetting for everyone involved, except for the infected, who were past being upset about that sort of thing. The initial shock was followed by running and screaming, which eventually devolved into more infection and attacking, that being the way of things. So what do we have now, in this enlightened age, 26 years after the Rising? We have idiots prodding zombies with sticks, which brings us full circle to my brother and why he probably won't live a long and fulfilling life. "Hey, George, check this out," he shouted, giving the zombie another poke in the chest with his hockey stick. The zombie gave a low moan, swiping at him ineffectually. It had obviously been in a state of full viral amplification for some time, and didn't have the strength or physical dexterity left to knock the stick out of Sean's hands. I'll give Sean this much: he knows not to bother the fresh ones at close range. "We're playing patty cake." "Stop antagonizing the locals and get back on the bike," I said, glaring from behind my sunglasses. His current buddy might be sick enough to be nearing its second, final death, but that didn't mean there wasn't a healthier pack roaming the area. Santa Cruz is zombie territory. You don't go there unless you're suicidal, stupid, or both. There are times when even I can't guess which of those options applies to Sean. "Can't talk right now. I'm busy making friends with the locals." "Sean Philip Mason, you get back on this bike right now, or I swear to God, I'm going to drive away and leave you here." Sean looked around, eyes bright with sudden interest as he planted the end of his hockey stick at the center of the zombie's chest to keep it at a safe distance. "Really? You'd do that for me? Because my sister abandoned me in zombie country without a vehicle would make a great article." "A posthumous one, maybe," I snapped. "Get back on the goddamn bike." "In a minute," he said, laughing, turning back towards his moaning friend. In retrospect, that's when everything started going wrong. The pack had probably been stalking us since before we hit the city limits, gathering reinforcements from all over the county as they approached. Packs of infected get smarter. Wait, I want to do it. Okay. There's a thing I've been wanting to do. I don't know if I'll be able to do it. But I'm reading and I'm like talking to this, and then I'm like, whip hand to this guy. I don't even know how that guy's doing. How is that guy doing? That guy's doing okay. It's a little, you know what? Oh man, that's a bright fucking light. Yeah. Sadly, that ring light will be for another day. Okay, so I want to try, like, reading it, and then on like a big line. Okay. So, a posthumous one, maybe, I snapped. Get back on the goddamn bike. In a minute, he said, laughing, and turned back towards his moaning friend. In retrospect, that's when everything started to go wrong. Wait, shit, I did it wrong. And turned back towards his moaning friend. In retrospect, that's when everything started going wrong. And then I go back to this one. The pack had probably been stalking us since before we hit the city limits, gathering reinforcements from all over the county as they approached. Packs of infected get smarter and more dangerous the larger they become. I think that's the same thing in Stephen King's Cell, where the more of them there are together, the smarter they get. I don't know how much she means, like literally, they get smarter. Groups of 4 or less are barely a threat unless they can corner you. But a pack of 20 or more stands a good chance of breaching any barrier the uninfected try to put up. You get enough of the infected together, and they'll start displaying pack hunting techniques. They'll start using actual tactics. It's like the virus that's taken them over starts to reason when it gets enough hosts in the same place. It's scary as hell. And it's just about the worst nightmare of anyone who regularly goes into zombie territory, getting cornered by a large group that knows the land better than you do. These zombies knew the land better than we did, and even the most malnourished and virus-ridden pack knows how to lay an ambush. A low moan echoed from all sides, and then they were shambling into the open, some moving with the slow lurch of the long infected, others moving at something close to a run. Nice. I like how she's combined both slow zombies and fast zombies in a way that is so obvious once you think about it. Like, when they're infected, their bodies are still pretty much human. They can run as fast as humans. Once they get more infected, they shamble. You know, checkmate, atheists. That was totally not a good enough joke to warrant switching cameras for. But I don't care. I'll do it again. I'll do it again. I freaking love that nobody is watching. No one. Just like last time. Nobody cares. Nobody wants to watch me. And yet, unlike on Twitch, I'm just chilling. You know? I'm chilling, reading about a villain, and if someone happens upon me, like, peace and prosperity and blessings upon them, but I don't need it for, like, validation. I'm just reading a book to get ideas about an essay about some bugs. Like, I don't need to have a chat full of people calling me, like, totally poggers or whatever. And, like, sending me, like, stream element and tips. Like, they just give you the URL and are like, hey, paste this into your description box. Do it. No one's looking. Just do it. You've earned it. Just put it in. And I'm like, gross. Speaking of gross, the runners led the pack, cutting off 3 of the remaining methods of escape before there was time to do more than stare. I looked at them and shuddered. Fresh infected, really fresh ones, still look almost like the people that they used to be. Their faces show emotion, and they move with a jerkiness that could just mean they slept wrong the night before. It's harder to kill something that looks like a person, and worst of all, the bastards are fast. The only thing more dangerous than a fresh zombie is a pack of them, and I counted at least 18 before I realized that it didn't matter and stopped bothering. I grabbed my helmet and shoved it on without fastening the strap. If the bike went down, dying because my helmet didn't stay on would be one of the better options. I'd reanimate, but at least I wouldn't be aware of it. Sean! Sean whipped around, staring at the emerging zombies. Whoa! Fortunately for Sean, the addition of that many zombies had turned his buddy from a stupid solo into part of a thinking mob. The zombie grabbed the hockey stick as soon as Sean's attention was focused elsewhere, yanking it out of his hands. Sean staggered forward, and the zombie latched onto his cardigan, withered fingers locking down with deceptive strength. It hissed. I screamed, images of my inevitable future as an only child filling my mind. Sean! One bite and things would get a lot worse. There's not much worse than being cornered by a pack of zombies in downtown Santa Cruz. Losing Sean would qualify. The fact that my brother convinced me to take a dirt bike into zombie territory doesn't make me an idiot. I was wearing full off-road body armor, including a leather jacket with steel armor joints attached at the elbows and shoulders, a Kevlar vest, motorcycling pants with hip and knee protectors, and calf-high riding boots. It's bulky as hell, and I don't care, because once you factor in my gloves, my throat's the only target I present in the field. See, this is someone who has fucking watched zombie movies. That's that, like, I don't know if you would call it irony poisoning, but, like, I'm sure there's, like, a TV tropes for it, but just the fact that, like, everybody seems to know when they're in genre fiction. Like, no one just is. Like, everyone in zombie movies has seen zombie movies and knows what to do. That would be really... I mean, they've done that sort of like a subversion of that where people like... I mean, Jesus, look at Return of the Living Dead. They're like, oh, you just cut their head off. I saw it in this movie. And they cut the head off. The body's alive. The head's alive. It's just everything you learn from stupid zombie movies. Even if they're like the best zombie movies. Stupid zombie movies. It's all wrong. And it messes them up. I feel like Lost Boys did that too. Like, they go on a little like pilgrimage and find some texts or something. Anyway, okay, yeah. My throat's the only target I present in the field. That seems like an ominous sentence. Sean, on the other hand, is a moron and had gone zombie baiting in nothing more defensive than a cardigan, a Kevlar vest, and cargo pants. He won't even wear goggles. He says they spoil the effect. Unprotected mucous membranes can spoil a hell of a lot more than that. But I practically have to blackmail him to get him into the Kevlar. Goggles are a non-starter. There's one advantage to wearing a sweater in the field, no matter how idiotic I think it sounds. Wool tears. Sean ripped himself free and turned, running for the motorcycle with great speed, which is really the only effective weapon we have against the infected. Not even the fresh ones can keep up with an uninfected human over a short sprint. We have speed and we have bullets. Everything else about this fight is in their favor. Ooh. Yeah. Yeah. It's not even like they... like sunlight with vampires. They just don't have a specific weakness other than the head cutting off slash burnt slash wrapped and thrown in a tomb, which, according to the lore of sorry, I got distracted. This is green nonsense. Oof. Look at me falling asleep like an old biddy. But I will. I will fall asleep. I'll take you all with me. Don't think I won't, 'cause I will. And that is it, wink. For like 1.5 chapters. I'm gonna read this whole thing. Mm.